Hey guys, welcome back to another episode, number 29 of obscure, well, sort of obscure toy lines from the 70s, 80s, all the way up to today. And believe it or not, we're still not scraping the bottom of the barrel. Check this one out. This is from 1986 by Schaefer Film Nation's Ghostbusters. So, Film Nation's Ghostbusters was a toy series based on the short-lived cartoon show of the same name, Film Nation Ghostbusters, that aired from 1974 to 76. So the show was about ghostbusting, obviously, and they featured Tracy the Ape. Now, when Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray's Ghostbusters was coming out, Film Nation sued for the right of their name, and then they quickly put out a cartoon called Ghostbusters. That's why in the Ghostbusters movie, it's called Ghostbusters, but just in the opening title card, because of that, when they were sued, and then when the Ghostbusters, our Ghostbusters cartoon came out, they had to be called The Real Ghostbusters. So that's the long and the short of it. I'm sure I omitted some information, but that's most of it. So the toy lines were made by Schaefer. Schaefer was bought out by Tyco, but they put out a lot of nice detailed figures that really look like the characters from the show. Now, I couldn't find a commercial, so I had to go on YouTube to find somebody that had a nice collection, but everything was well done. The toys were nice, the vehicles were beautiful. They even transformed the buggy the exact same way it changed in the cartoon. The line had 12 figures, 6 good guys, 6 bad guys, along with 4 vehicles and their own interpretation of a ghostbusting station. Men of Insecta, DFC Multi-Toys Corporation, 1983. So we'll read the caption as, eons ago when life began on Earth, many insects came to the surface, but more remained deep beneath the earth to build a world of their own, Insecta, the insect world. So, regrettably, another obscure toy line that I couldn't find a toy commercial for, but this is the Men of Insecta, and they're from 1983. It was a one-series toy line, and it was basically these Bugmen. They were 4-inch figures in height, and they were packaged with a specific insect companion. The Bugmen's weapons, as well as the King Stina's wings, came packaged in 3 different color variations, red, green, or black. They also had 2 vehicles, which apparently are the hardest to find now in the line, and they were all based on Dragon Riders of Styx sleds and the Demon Flyer. Along with the 2 mentioned vehicles, the character names were Killer Bee, Stag Beetle, Black Widow, Man Spider, Grasshopper Man, and Tiger Beetle. Although there is a dispute on pronunciation for some of these names, I've come across 3 websites where there's slight spelling variations. The Glamour Girls by Kenner, 1980. Another toy in the vein of Barbies, Glamour Girls were 4 1/4 inch fashion dolls. They all came in a specific themed outfit, and there was over 70 characters / outfit combinations. There was even some male characters. They came with a few playsets, which was the Party Palace, the Beauty Salon, a fancy Firebird vehicle, and even a special wedding playset that came with an exclusive groom doll. For the hardcore Glamour Girl collectors, there was even a 3x2 foot ocean liner. Manimals by Hasbro, 1994. You guys wanted more obscure toys, so I've been looking, and these are some of the more obscure, hard to find. A subset of G.I. Joe, these were Manimals, originally unreleased toys, and these in the collector's market fetch an incredibly high price, especially if they're carded. So basically a subset of G.I. Joe, even though they're called Manimals and they change into different type of animals, they have a transforming feature, they were meant to be aliens. So I'm hoping that this was the re-released KB's exclusive that this YouTuber is opening, because what had happened was Hasbro had a lot of stock left over, so KB said, you know what, we'll take the stock, we'll repackage it, and we'll sell it as a KB KB Toys exclusive. Original on the card, Manimals with the G.I. Joe placard on the side can go upwards of $1,000. The Manimal characters, all 6 of them, are Spasma, Vortex, Zigzag, Iguanus, Slythor, and Warwolf. Hanna-Barbera's Fish Police by Just Toys, 1992. So I vaguely remember this cartoon coming out in the early 90s, and I was unaware that a Bendham's toy line even came out for it. It was a cartoon that was meant to be a primetime, more adult joke cartoon to challenge the popularity of The Simpsons. There was other ones, like Fox obviously had The Simpsons, ABC tried Capital Critters, and CBS had The Family Dog. I remember Family Dog more than any of them, but basically it was a cartoon based on the comic, and it was film noir style, you know, about an inspector going against the underground mob bosses. And they had some famous name actors going into this, like Gil was John Ritter, the bad lawyer Sharkster was Tim Curry. They had Ed Eisner in here, Ed Asner, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Phil Hartman was a voice. There was Jonathan Winter. It only lasted about 6 episodes. That's why I guess we didn't get a lot of toys. I don't know if they're based off the cartoon or the comic, but you know, another one that I couldn't find a commercial for, so we had to settle for the intro. Manimal by Fleetwood Toys, 1983. So I put a spacer in between this and Manimals so that we didn't get them confused, although one was a subset of G.I. Joe and one was a crazy early 80s television show. It only lasted 8 episodes, but I have to go back and watch this now. So basically it's an adventure TV show, and it was about a guy named Dr. Jonathan Chase who had the ability to shapeshift, so he could turn himself into any animal and then he would fight crime. So you would think that this would make cool toys if there was a transformation to it, but you know, most kids in the 80s could just take a G.I. Joe and a regular animal toy and reenact Manimal. So the show was very short-lived. It only lasted a few months, 1 season, 8 episodes, but Fleetwood Toys decided to take a chance on making toys for the television show, which was kind of like the toys would look like it was in the middle of transforming. Like you'll see here, this is a cobra with arms, so he's in the middle of transformation. There was a few more. There was the classic hawk that he turned into, and also a wolf man. This is obscure. In keeping with having one later date toy, this one being the 60s and a blast from the past, this is Little Miss Echo by American Doll and Toy, 1962. I mean, even look at this commercial. Now for me, I find this rather interesting, especially for an early 60s toy. This was 62. So Little Miss Echo was a doll that you had to put batteries in, and she had a built-in microphone. When you turned her bow to the right, you would record your message up to 30 seconds. Then when you turn it to the left, she would repeat what you said. Depending on your timing, you could have conversations with the doll, which this was marketed as. You could teach her to talk, you could have conversations with her, or you could sing with her. Little Miss Echo. You know, looking at this commercial, this is truly a blast from the past, and it makes me want to ask my grandmother, my older aunts, if they've ever had one of these. You know, this is 60 years old. Pretty cool. War Planets, Trendmasters, 1996. Now, War Planets was a suggestion in the comments, and I am happy that it was suggested because I never heard of War Planets. You know, 1997, 98, like I was graduating high school, so I wasn't into toys at that time, not like how I am back at 38 into it again. But War Planets is crazy. It's very Mighty Max Polly Pocket style, in that each planet would open up to reveal their army. You could add moons to it to create different styles, and all the hero planets would fight the Beast planet. And here you can see with a grabber arm that it would attack. Each planet had a unique characteristic to it that gave it its own powers, and again, each one would have different figures and little vehicles and different spring-loaded action attacks. So, you know, War Planets, Trendmasters, I wish I had seen this when I was a kid, because I would have definitely been into it, and now, you know, that it's warming up, I'm going to look for these at the flea market. Very cool. And again, guys, whoever recommended this, you know, hats off to you. This was obscure to me, which, you know, I like to say is hard to do, but wow. And that's going to do it for another episode, guys, of obscure, well, sort of obscure toy lines from the 70s, 80s, and today. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the likes and comments, and of course, the suggestions, because your suggestions and recommendations of old obscure toy lines helps keep this series going. So, you know, thank you very much for all the help, guys. Until next week, I'll see you later.